Should we start?
Yes.
Officially. All right.
Okay. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Flex in the City. I'm Rada.
And I'm Lisa, and this is episode 24. Did I tell you, by the way, that I think I did tell you that the test of whether a podcast is going to make it or not is like the episode 37. There's something about like 37 episodes where most podcasts, something like ridiculous, like 85% of them fail because they don't make it to episode 37. They fail at or before 37, and all the ones that go past episode 37, like that's 15%.
Do you think we'll get past episode 37?
I think so. Now that I know that, we have to.
We have to get past it.
We have to. But there's like, I don't know, there's some kind of, I don't know what the logic behind it is, but there's some kind of like just people lose whether it's motivation or momentum, or they're just like, oh, like it's not getting, you know, the listenership that I hoped for, so let's just like can it.
Well, I think like slow and steady wins the race. I think with something like this, like it's gonna take time.
Yeah. And I think we've, as long as it's steady, I think we've been growing quite steadily.
Yeah.
Even if it's not like exponentially, it's still, yeah, we're getting more interaction. What are we at, like 30 plus subscribers now?
31.
Yeah. So I mean that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with that as well. And the engagement.
So subscribe.
Please.
Make sure you have like the subscribe button that just
yeah, I need to have that like big red pop up. Oh God. But anyway, we caught up a little bit earlier, but how was the rest of your week?
Good. Let's see, on Monday I came into the city. It's funny when I say I came into the city because I don't live in the city. I live like 30 minutes outside.
I mean,
the city.
She's in the same city, but the
just
city
not
center.
Like like the suburbs of Munich.
Although it's really nice out there. It was nice coming out and actually seeing like
it's literally it's like you know that song from Cheers, where everybody knows your name,
which is like would be the worst thing for me. I want to go where nobody knows my name.
Yeah.
But no, it's cute. I love the streets. They're really cute. You had like a lot of like little playgrounds.
Yeah, I love that. I personally love it. I don't know. Like it becomes like its own little community.
Yeah. Do you know a lot of your neighbors aside from the
neighbors? No, the people that I know are from the kids' schools.
Like,
that's
of course.
Like that's who you interact with. You know. So
yeah. And they're all in the area, obviously, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Because then you have your community and they're close by.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's always good. And if you drive, honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I know when I was talking to some of the parents at our school, they were like, most of them commute from like way far. Like one of them was like, oh yeah, we come from Dachau. I was like, the hell?
Oh damn.
Yeah. So some of them come from way far, and a lot of them were like, yeah, we used to live in the city, but like we just wanted a yard and we wanted to be able to sit in our garden, and
which makes sense once you have kids and like they start to get older.
Yeah.
And they need that space, you know.
And I was thinking more about it, and I was like, actually, it's not really much of a city, so it's not like my lifestyle would change that much on a daily basis, because I hate everybody.
I wouldn't see or talk to anybody.
I would rather like, you know, like do that in like a bigger house with a yard, and then I could have a dog, and then I'll be happy. I'm just kidding. I'm playing. but
jokes.
But the suburbs are not bad. Yeah.
Suburbs are not bad, and I think you'd actually enjoy it too, because everyone would know who you are. I mean, I hated Connecticut though.
Oh, me too. But it was giving Connecticut.
But it does
only because it was like snow covered when we came out there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's giving stores.
Yeah. But I feel like we also have we have a lot of older people in my area, but we also have a lot of internationals. Like there's lots of not international, just internationals, but you get like it's diverse. Like
it's a mixed bag.
You'll
Really
see
good.
that. It's like mini Munich, you know what I mean? Like we're not completely in the middle of nowhere and it's all just a bunch of
Yeah, yeah,
white people,
yeah,
like, you know.
yeah. Who've been there for like four
Yeah.
generations
Yeah.
and
No,
right.
and I like that about where we are.
Yeah,
So,
because it still like feels very city feel as opposed to like
yeah.
when we go to like Landshut, which
Yeah.
feels very,
Yeah.
very like villagey.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it's like meant to be like the biggest
Yeah.
non-city. It was meant to be the capital. Did you know that?
Of Bavaria.
It was meant to be the capital, yeah. That's where the king resided. That's why they have the wedding there and everything. Yeah. And then
Oh,
I
okay.
forget what happened, why they chose Munich, something to do with the marriage and everything.
Proximity or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean ultimately that's why there's so much history in Landshut because it didn't get bombed during the war. All their old buildings are there.
I
Whereas
need to
Munich,
research more about it. I don't know anything about Landshut,
oh,
to be
I know
honest.
only because for mom-in-law's birthday, she organized a city tour for us.
Interesting.
Sorry, a village tour for us where we went to their parliament building or whatever, and there was a lady who took us around and told us about the history and the king and we walked around and we went to the old church. It was, I think, -4 degrees that day, fun fact.
Joy.
So it was an interesting day for me
I'm
to
just
be
picturing you.
there.
Although I love history and I
I was
love,
actually really interested, yeah.
yeah,
Once she got talking, yeah, I
yeah.
really like and we were indoors at this point. Like in the I call it the parliament room. I don't it has a different name, but essentially there was this huge tapestry that was shows like the wedding that they do every year. Um look up the Landshut wedding thing. Anyway, so the king apparently was like, listen, we should like the room was really drab and like very German and boring colors. And he's like, no, we have to make it like pretty and everything. And apparently that king, he never got married or he wouldn't get married for the longest time because the lady said he couldn't be with a woman. And I was like, no wonder this room looks like this because Sister King came and said, let's put some color around here. The tapestry that's painted is phenomenal. It's amazing. The colors. And he made it a point to say, everybody in the painting has to wear the traditional outfits that they wore at the time. So everyone is in like those traditional clothing and like da 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 da. And I was like, I knew a gay man was involved because it was just
OMG.
so yeah. And then they have like all these little like gargoyles that they have
Yeah,
outside of
yeah.
like Notre Dame and stuff like that. Like he put little like gargoyle heads all around the edges of the room, and I was like, I like him.
Oh man.
I think we could have hung out.
We could have been besties.
We could have been besties. So she was telling us all about him,
Oh my
and she
gosh.
was like, it was a lot of pressure on him back then because she was like, it's not like nowadays where he could just have been happy. Like he had to produce an heir, so he was under a lot of pressure, and he was very much about like preserving music and beauty and clothing. And I was like, of course he was,
Hmm.
of course. So that was
Okay.
really interesting for
I
me.
need to look into
Yeah,
this.
it was
I
really
need to
interesting. And
research
that is
this.
why when they do the Landshut wedding celebrations every 4 years, they wear the old outfits because they only know what they wore from him having them painted on the
Painted.
thing. Yeah. So that's kind of like the inspiration for how they dress. And they take it very
Wow.
seriously. Like it's every 4 years. And if you're chosen, because you have to be like part of an old family in Landshut to be chosen to be one of the people that is one of the players in the thing, and you have to have a skill, either like horseback jousting, or you play one of the instruments, or like flag thrower, which is what Michael did. He was a flag thrower, and all the handball players are like flag throwers. It's weird. Anyway, you have to grow your hair out as a man because you have to have the long hair. So
Yeah.
they tell you like a year in advance you've been selected. So all these guys from Landshut have the worst haircuts for a year before they go to this thing, and then like in a couple of days it's over. Like that's how seriously they take it. There's even men who are old men who are involved in it, and they grow their hair out. Yeah, it's
I wonder
they're
when
really
the
serious.
next one is. Because
We
I feel
just we
like
just
it
went to the
just,
one last year.
oh,
Was
so
it
it's
last year?
still,
Yeah, last year or the year before. I think it was last year.
Okay.
Yeah, because you were here in the summer. Yeah, last year. So now we have, after this summer, another 2, 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so you can imagine me being there full of all these very old traditional white people from Landshut, pretend jousting and drinking from like old beer
Oh
thingies,
my God,
dressed like medieval times. I was like,
photos. You need to insert them in here. This is when you
I
go.
don't even think I took any. I was like, the whole time I was like,
You were in
what am I
culture
doing
shock.
here? What am I? And they were looking at me like, girl, what are you doing here? And I was like, listen, I don't.
Blink twice if you've been kidnapped.
I was like, help.
Rescue me.
Was like,
Oh man.
this is what y'all were doing. Like, and I was like, I wonder what Black people were doing at the time when these guys were doing all this stuff.
Oh.
I was talking to my friend about it, and he was like, probably being enslaved
Yeah.
or cleaning up the horse poo. I was like, shit, to be fair. Yeah.
Shit.
Oh my God. But yeah, it was interesting. So it's a lot of history there. But it's very villagey. You definitely don't get that feel being in your suburb. You still feel like you're, city adjacent, at least.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying.
That was me asking you about your week.
I came into the city and I went to a museum with a friend. It was actually at the Munich Library.
Oh yeah, what was the exhibit?
It's basically this famous political photographer who has died now. I think he died in 2024. And they put his work on display. I think his name was Volker Hintz or something like that. And he basically traveled the world with the chancellors of the time, like in the 70s and the 80s, and the Bundespräsident and all of the German political members. And he would travel with them, and he'd take like photos of them, and he'd also go to like, just if like there was something big happening at that time or some historical moment, like he was there photographing KKK clans,
like their rallies and stuff like that. Yeah.
And that was crazy to see also. Like you saw a lot of things that were very German related.
I was like, how would they let them in there? I was like, he's German. Of course he was welcome at the KKK
There was even photos of Yasser Arafat, the PLO leader. So that was crazy to see too.
What was his
Golda Meir and the chancellor at the time sitting and chatting, which for me was like, but it was just crazy to see that too.
Really good. So
and then the KKK one, there was a lot of photos of women wearing. I had no idea.
Kids. Have you seen the pictures of little kids like this in the hoods?
And they even show like photos of like the kids hanging out with their dads, like the dads holding them. So they're obviously being indoctrinated at a very early age.
The little kids with like the hoods on, like
the photos he had, they didn't have them on.
They didn't have them on.
But there was like one where it was a dad, fully masked and everything, and another one, the mom is holding the baby and her mask is off. And then another kid in front of them, just like looking up at them with a big smile. And I was just like, but I saw that. And I went with my friend who's biracial. And I was telling her, like, for me, I didn't realize that you would see women. And she was like, well, back in the day, women were the slave owners.
Listen, there's an article I need to share with you that I just read a couple days ago about that. And they were the ones who negotiated a lot of the sale. Yeah.
Like apparently women didn't have many rights at the time, but the one right that they did have was ownership
of humans. Yeah. They actually organized for like the trading of slaves and saying, oh, we need more staff for da-da-da-da-da and da-da-da. Or in some cases, because their husband was impregnating them, they would make sure that the children were sold off separate. The mothers were sold off and the children remained. Yeah, it's crazy. There's even a story of a nunnery, a group of nuns who said, oh, we're here to help children, and actually were using it as a way to sell slaves and using the funds from slaves to fund their school. And the school still stands today.
Oh, yeah, that makes me sick.
Yeah, and the nuns were like,
the school's still there?
The school's still there. Even America don't take shit down.
Oh, they took a couple of statues.
They had to be torn down. A lot of them. Yeah, a lot of them had to be like defaced or, you know, attacked in
Wow.
some way. But yeah, they're just like, oh, but it's part of history. I'm like, the same history that you guys
It
also
keeps
don't want to
repeating,
teach the
but it
kids.
keeps repeating. So it's like part of history.
Make it make
History
sense
is no longer history. It is literal, real life,
right now.
right now, in this moment.
now.
It's not like you can't say it's part of
It's
history.
literally rewind. It's just
Yeah.
Groundhog Day. It's the
Oh
same
my
shit,
God. It's
different day. It's just
exactly, that's
Groundhog Day.
exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But no, that sounds amazing. I might do that on one of my days
Yeah,
off
definitely check it
sometime.
out. It's just
Yeah,
it's like in one of the top floors of the library, and
yeah,
it literally is just like the U shape. It's not like, doesn't take long. I think we
right.
did it in an hour, and because we were reading everything, but everything's in German, so I had to take out my Google Translate, and which is weird because normally I go to museums and there's always the
Yeah,
English
they always
part right
have both.
underneath, and this
Yeah,
one didn't have that, but it's
you
free.
could
It's
photograph
just
it on Chat GPT, right? And then it
I did it
translates.
on Google Translate.
Oh yeah,
Like you just took a photo, but yeah, you could also do
it does the
Chat
same. Yeah,
GPT and
okay.
it would be fine. So
Interesting. No,
that
that
was
sounds really
interesting.
fascinating.
And then I met up with um, a woman who moved here from Jordan to Munich.
Oh yeah, I
So
remember
that
you
was
mentioned.
so random. I went to high school with her, but she was like 3 classes above me, so I'd
Look
never
at all your
really.
like classmates, just like following you to
Yeah,
Munich.
I
What
love
is
it.
it? What is in
It's
the
so random. But I definitely was like, I was looking forward to the parts where you'd see like the international
like the other
parts when he was
leaders? Or,
traveling and he'd be with he'd be with President Reagan,
do they talk about his?
Nancy Reagan, which I'm not a fan of anyway. But
Yeah, and she's everywhere. I'm like, what did she actually do?
I know she was one of the reasons why they did the whole HIV and
Yeah,
AIDS
the
campaign
whole
was halted, and so many people died during
yeah,
that
yeah. I
term.
don't know why she had so much sort of autonomy to be able to
I don't
influence
know
so
because
much.
I started because my friend was telling me all about it, and I started while we were walking through it. I was like, I really want to understand more, so I was like researching it. So
Yeah,
obviously, you get two sides of it where it's like Nancy Reagan really, her and her son really fought for this, and they wanted, but the president was so complicit, and he was not reacting. And then another side where it's like both of them had a role to play, and I feel like the first lady usually takes on like the president takes on like the
the political
big
big picture
political
stuff,
stuff,
and
and then
then
the
yeah,
first
they
lady
usually
takes on
find a
like the
project,
health or the
a social
something with a
project.
social project.
Yeah,
And so in my opinion that should have fallen on her to like push for it,
yeah,
and maybe
yeah.
that's why she gets a lot of backlash for it. And
It could
apparently she
be.
was racist and she also hated gays, like
So
so
I've heard as well.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, but that was interesting to see pictures of her and Reagan. And
Also, not a very photogenic woman.
no.
So many pictures of her.
Moving
No
on.
shade. I don't want to get canceled.
How was your week? How was your girls'
um,
night?
it was okay. We actually just went to like this cute little bar.
I saw that. I'm gonna save it. I definitely want
Yeah,
to go
it's
there.
new.
Yeah.
So, well, it's an old venue, but the owners are new, and they've done like the guy who owned it. He was actually sat down and had a couple drinks with us. He's a huge cocktail enthusiast, so he was like, "Oh, try this one and try this one," and he's like, "I'll make this one for you myself," and he's really passionate about it. So it's a small space. It looked very like old Brooklyn, like it's kind of like
Oh,
this
I love
narrow
that.
entry. You have a few like high top tables. You have the bar on the left. You have the bartenders, and it looks small, but it actually is quite spacious. And
Yeah.
then there's like tables in the back, and not a lot, but it was such a vibe. And um, they were playing all like our music, like Sean Paul, like
What?
50 Cent from the
But it's not a place
2000s.
like you would see people dancing
People were up and
after.
dancing. Like by the time we were leaving, people were up and dancing.
Oh, I love
Like I was like, shut up. Like some girls jumped behind the bar and were like shaking cocktails. I was like,
that.
vibe.
Oh, I love that.
I was like, I wish it was a Saturday night. It was a Thursday, and I was like, shit, I have class
Oh.
tomorrow. I've
Okay,
never felt more
we
like a
need to
student.
go on a Friday then.
Yeah, no, it was really cute. The guy was really sweet. He's actually Indian, but he's lived here for a while, and
The owner, you mean?
yeah,
Oh, he
yeah.
was there.
Him and
Okay.
his, I think one of his partners as well that was there, but we just kind of met him, and he's like, yeah, we kind of just did all the fit out on our own as well, and like it's cute, and they have like this moon theme, and it was a good time. But I realized I I don't drink cocktails for a reason. because
it's that sugar, man. That
it's
goes
so
straight
much
into your
sugar,
bloodstream, man.
and it's not even worth it because you have this drink that, all right, even if it's a really good tasting cocktail, it never gets you where you want to be.
Mm-mm.
And then you just have like 1,000 sugar calories just sitting in your stomach.
And the worst headache and everything the next
worst
day.
because the alcohol then mixes with the
Yeah.
sugar.
Yeah.
And I literally was 2 hours late to class. I just texted the teacher in the morning and I was like, listen, I'll be there during the break. I have something to do.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, no problem. I was like, oh
No,
my
I
God.
can't stand cocktails. But
They tasted really good though.
do you feel like you've found your tribe?
I don't expect that I would. I mean, it's very early to tell. And in most cases where I've felt in a place that, oh my God, I've got like my circle, my tribe, whatever it is, it's always happened as a hindsight like thing.
Okay.
It's always been shit, like, yeah, like those were my people.
Yeah.
Or, you know, it's years. It's definitely after a period of time has passed. So it's very early days. I'm enjoying like going out and having a break every now and then just from the mundane norm. And that's cool. That's enough for me now. But really I'm just like, all right, when can I plan my next
Yeah.
holiday from this place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you've
Yeah.
been struggling. I don't know if you want to talk about it. Like you've been like you are someone that is like very intuitive.
Yeah, I
You
spoke to you
felt
about
like
this.
you felt like something is not right,
I
and
think it
and you haven't been like
was, yeah,
yourself.
yeah, we spoke about it and I was like, and we were like, is it anxiety? And I'm like, nah, like I know when I have anxiety and usually I can pinpoint the cause. And it was just like an unsettled feeling. And it's something that happens to me every now and then. Guys, like, let us know if you have anything like this where I just feel unsettled and I'm like, oh my God, it's like foreboding. And then once whatever the thing is happens, I'm like, oh, that's what it was. Or once something comes to light or to my attention that I was feeling or that I didn't know what it was, and then I'm like, okay, that's
Yeah.
what it was. So that's usually how it's happened for me, which is why I call it an intuition because it's never really off. It's just a feeling of something's not quite right. I don't know what it is
Like
yet.
something's coming.
Or something is happening that I don't know what it is, but there's something that that will come to my attention or that will happen.
Yeah.
Yes. That will happen or that will come to my attention or it's something that will enter my world that is, yeah, like, and not like terrible. It's not like, oh my God, I'm gonna find out I'm sick or something. Nothing like that. It's just, but it's always like something's just
Something's
off,
a little
off
unsettling.
kilter. Yeah.
And
yeah.
you still have that feeling?
I still do. But the good thing about that is, and part of what you also spoke to me about was that, you know, obviously there's coping mechanisms that we can apply for anxiety and things like that. But also, I think even for something like this, that's a bit different, that for me has been really hard to quiet and suppress. I was just basically, I have to get back to one, like really, really engaging my brain as much as I can at all hours of the day, but also like physical exertion, like killing myself in the gym and then having sore muscles for days afterwards. Like that kind of just helps me clear a lot. So I think when I had that a lot, I went to I went to the gym that day that I spoke to you, I think. And it was a fucking it was a shitty workout. And shitty in terms of it was hard, but it's exactly what I needed. And I was puffed because my cardio was still trash.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm just going to push myself. And I did these deadlifts and I did rope climbs, which I haven't done in a while.
What? You can do those?
Yeah. But you can do it too. It's just about clamping
you're my
your feet.
hero.
You could do it too if you just
my
learn the
sister
foot clamp.
Nishma does them too, and
Yeah.
so easily. But she's always been like, since she was younger, like she also did gymnastics. So she was also very.
Did she?
Yeah, so she could go up and down like so easily.
Yeah.
I'm just always in awe of anyone that I don't know why I find it so fascinating to watch someone climbing a rope.
Like, you know what's crazy is like
I feel like you need that in an emergency sometimes.
We do, because whenever you watch like old action movies or a movie like someone hanging from like a ledge or a building and like they pull themselves up or over a cliff, when we used to watch that stuff, you're like, oh, okay. Like he pulled himself up. Woo, he didn't lose his grip. That's a muscle up. Like when you actually think about what's involved, like you'll have a lady hanging off a building and then somehow she pulls herself up. I'm like, there is no way that this woman has done that. Or like in old comedies, like this little guy climbing a rope and it's like a legless rope climb. I'm like, first of all, that's not how it works. That is not happening. And like they get to the top and they're like,
like, you know, sweat free.
Like smiling. I'm like, first of all, no. So it puts a lot of that stuff in perspective. But yeah, it definitely makes you think about like, shit, like, you know, if I had to like climb up a rope to climb into a, you know, whatever it is, that would be good. That would be good to know how to do that. But it was my first time doing them actually in a couple of years. Because yeah, even when I've trained before, we haven't had them programmed. So I got there and I was like, I don't even know if I can still do one. But if you get the foot clamp, it's actually easy because you're literally
pushing off on
standing on the rope. Yeah. The legless or the L-sit ones are.
The what?
The L-sit.
What's that?
So
where
you know, like where you're sitting like this, and you climb up like this the whole way. Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, that's the one the gymnasts I think like practice. Yeah. That's the one that one day, although I don't know if the post child core will allow such games to be played. The pelvic floor will say, girl. Nah. Not today. Nah. Oh God. So yeah, so that really helped a lot. Like, and I remember every time I wanted to stop and rest in between sets, so I would try to finish the workout rounds as fast as possible. And my chest, lungs, mouth, throat were on fire because muscles felt okay, but and then I look at the rope and be like,
still gotta do that.
Yeah.
Shit.
And like once you start, there's no stopping, right?
Yeah.
So once you do the first clamp and you're kind of going up there, you're committed. And so I just kept saying, you know what, like 4 breaths after the deadlifts unbroken, like just bang it out, just really put everything out. Because I wanted to like collapse at the end. And it felt so good. And put things in perspective. And I was like, your body is healthy, your family, your kids are healthy, the people you care about are healthy. Like whatever happens. It kind of just shifts your brain. So
I think that's also awesome that like in those moments, like that's also where you feel like when you have those workouts that you have to do and they're very intense. I'm not saying that doesn't mean that you have to do it perfectly, the exercises, but the idea is that you're there and you're in control. You know what I mean? So like you would decide, am I going to do the rope climb in like 10 seconds or 30 seconds? Am I going to do X amount of deadlifts? And like, but you are in control, and that kind of gives you back the control up here when you're having those moments of, you know, anxiety, or like you said, for you, like just this unsettling feeling.
You're right. Cause it might be like lack of control correlated to the fact that you're like, something's happening and I don't know how to prevent it, stop it, fix it, whatever it is. And it might be, the fact that you feel a little bit in control. Although
you are someone you are someone who needs to be in control. Like, let's be honest.
A little bit.
Just a little.
I just like I like not predictability, but like I just kind of like it's control. I'm not gonna lie.
It's control.
Yeah.
You need to be in control. Like it's even like the idea of me telling you go away for the weekend and you won't do it.
Because I need to control everything that's happening
with your
when
kids.
I'm not there. Yeah. Well, also based on the fact that I'm in an environment where I don't yet feel that that relinquishing control of like my kids for like a day or two is something I'm ready to do yet.
So it's a trust thing.
I think so, currently at that point. I mean, even when I first moved to Kenya with Dante, I remember my parents were like, we have a nanny to help you out. She ended up quitting because she had nothing to do. I was like, you can wash his clothes. And she was like, you want me to give him a bath? I was like, I got it. Like, do you want me to feed him? I was like, I got it.
it.
Like, do you want me to change? I got it. I got it. Like, she literally had nothing to do. So my parents were like, sorry. And so yeah, I think it's just something that happens gradually. And that was in an environment where I already had, a very, very comfortable support system, my parents, etc. But it just takes me a while, I think, with my kids when they're really little.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
your little guy is still little.
yeah, he's still pretty little. Like, you hear these stories of these moms who like work 3-4 jobs and like they're bringing up like multiple kids on their own, and I'm just like, how many hours are in their day? Because I don't know how you could do it. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I
It's like,
and you're
honestly,
at work.
hats off to like how they do that. I mean,
Yeah.
but even to you and how you did it, like you also brought him up on your own, I mean,
I
you
had a lot of help though.
but it also
from my
takes a
parents.
village. Like I feel like we come from that school of like that mindset, that like that school of thought where it takes a village to raise a family. It doesn't have to be just you alone.
Right.
Right.
It does, I think.
And we have that luxury. Like, I consider it a luxury to have that support system. Like, these women that you're talking about that have these 3 to 4, like maybe they do not have that
maybe
option.
They don't have it.
Yeah.
I know in a lot of cases, even when I moved back, and I was like an adult and I was self-sufficient and all of that, and when I moved back with Dante, I hadn't lived in Kenya for decades, so I moved back in with my parents initially, and I remember a lot of my friends who had kids were like, you're so fortunate that your parents would like allow you to do that. And I was like, it was never a doubt in my mind that they would, help me when I need help in a situation that was difficult.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more of my friends than not were like, yeah, my parents were like, listen, you're a grown up, you're grown enough to have a kid, you're grown enough to figure it out. And and a lot of them had kids that were still really small, and they were working full time, and they were properly single mothers, like really just not having any support from their family. And their parents were like, listen, we brought you up, it's our time to enjoy our lives now, so catch you on the flip side, and say hi to my grandson, like, So I didn't realize that it wasn't that common. And I saw them working hard, I see them like trying to obviously show up for their kids, and which is why sometimes I feel like I'm soft, because I'm like, yeah, I had it pretty easy compared to, and I only have 2. I feel soft even when I like consider your situation. You got 3.
Girl, like once you have 2, you can add 3, 4, it's the same.
No, you know what they say? 1 is like 1, 2 is like 10, 3 is like 20. That's what they say. It just starts doubling. The exponent starts.
I don't know. I mean, I
can definitely vouch for 2 is like 10.
I feel like 1 on its own also, and we've had this discussion where 1 on its, like, just having 1 is also like a feat. Like, it's also a challenge to just try to entertain and keep this one child, like occupied or just exactly. Like, I feel like that's a challenge on its own. When you got like 2, 3, whatever, like, I mean, my mom always said, she's like, why do you think we had so many of you? You guys could entertain each other.
Yeah, if they're close in age, actually, yeah, right? It does help. So, I know, like, with the big gap between the boys, yeah, Dante just got so good at like playing by himself.
Yeah, the little one, Shifo, plays by himself a lot. And I could say that's probably because, we were a bit older when we had him.
Yeah.
And we just probably didn't have as much energy having to deal with Manny and Sammy. So it was like Shifo in the corner all the time,
just figure it
doing
out.
his own thing. And I just thought, you know what? And there's been times where he comes home from school.
Yeah.
And I've actively gone up to him and been like, can I sit and play with you? And he'd be like, no, I want to play by myself.
He's got this.
He's got this. Like, he doesn't need me to entertain him. He just needs, and I think it's just like us as adults too. Like, we need that time to unwind after, whether it was like work or whatever. Like, you come home, you just need a minute.
Their days are really full too.
And he needed a minute, and he's like, no, I don't need you to play with me.
Space. I got it.
Like,
sit over there.
Broken heart. I'll sit in my corner. You just let me know when you want me. Okay, I'm here. But Mommy's here.
Mommy's here. I'm around. I'm around if you need me. It's true though.
Yeah.
Like when you think back to school days as well, like that like bit of decompressing that you just need when you get back,
Yeah.
like put your bag down, you're like, just need to breathe
Yeah.
and contemplate
Just lie
my
on
life.
the bed.
Yeah.
Lie on your bed.
Yeah. And like if it's not for snacks, don't bother me, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless you're bringing me snacks.
Don't ask me questions.
Please.
I don't want to know.
Give me 2 hours.
I'm just going to lie here comatose. In my clothes that I wore all day.
The whole day.
I would never do that now. But then
we had
like,
to. We did. But
no.
the whole like outside clothes thing.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
I have to enforce it. I'm just like
yeah. I yell at the
Not on
boys
the
all the
couch.
time. You were sitting on chairs that hundreds of other
literally
kids
say that.
sit on.
I'm like, you were on
Pick
the
their
train.
nose, like
People who
sneeze,
pee
like,
their
come
pants
on.
sit on the train.
Yeah.
You're not bringing that train pee into the house.
Oh my God. Oh, I was on the train a month ago.
Yeah.
And I feel bad saying, but there was literally there must have been a homeless person.
Yeah.
That just was riding the trains just to stay warm.
Just stay warm.
But when you walked by it, like everyone would walk by this one area, like by the area. By it, I meant area. When you would walk by, and it was a woman actually. Pee. And everyone was literally gagging.
Oh
like
my God.
Literally, and they would
like fresh pee.
Yeah, and they would just do this, and I just thought to myself, and somebody came and sat after she got up and left. Someone came and sat in her.
They didn't know,
and part of me wanted to be like,
how many times has that been us?
Exactly. Like how many times? So now every time I come on, I look, at least make sure there's no like wet spot, just so that I can avoid that.
Thank you so much.
But I know for sure that I have sat in someone's urine
post-pee situation.
There was a lady on the train on Monday when I was leaving after I met up with my friend.
Yeah.
And she was just sitting across from me, and she was picking at her lip skin, her dead skin, and she had on red lipstick. So she was picking at it and picking and flicking, and I just thought, just don't make eye contact. Don't look.
What train line is this? Is this the S-Bahn?
This is an U-Bahn. This is underground.
Shit.
This is underground. Both stories were underground.
Man. Woo.
So I just looked. I was like, and then when she got up, like I was trying, when you don't want to look.
But you want to look.
And I just kept looking at the red flakes that it just
you could see them
gathered. I just thought, damn it.
Oh my God.
Damn it.
Oh my
I said,
Lord.
what other elements of people's,
fuckery
is on this train right now?
Like really?
Yeah.
And with the homeless thing, like apparently in Germany, you have to choose to be homeless, basically, right? Because the government provides you with housing.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's programs where that's why you don't see as many, especially in the winter. Like it's not because they suddenly found homes. It's because they actually is government funded housing for people who are homeless, but they have to actually like sign up and accept that they're going to get government assistance. And a lot of them who decide not to do that, or they're too proud, those are the ones you see on the street, but they don't actually have to be there.
I mean, are we sure there's no like, hidden agenda or something?
No,
like,
I literally looked it up because I was
to maybe be applying for jobs, and maybe that's something that they're not willing to, like, I'm just trying to figure out what is it that would be holding somebody back.
Pride, I think, for a lot of people. They don't want to, because not everyone who's homeless is homeless because they've like grown up that way, right?
Yeah.
So, maybe they had a circumstance that happened that thrust them into those, and they're just like, no, I got this. But every time that it's cold, like yesterday was stupidity cold.
I mean, we're in the minus. Like it doesn't even
like comfortable minus, not like -1.
Like it doesn't go up past 0. It's in the minus.
And it finally stopped snowing. It was snowing all morning.
Yeah.
But so whenever it's cold, like it was yesterday, I'm like, what do people who are homeless do? Because you will die. You'll actually die. And that's why they have that, because people would actually die. You'd see like frozen bodies on the street. And that's why you don't see them, because there's actually shelters for them to go to that are government subsidized or whatever. I'm like, wow, so this is what it feels like to be in a country where taxpayers' money actually goes towards like infrastructure and programs for the people.
Yeah.
Like in Kenya, there's nothing like that.
No, in Jordan, there's nothing like that.
We don't even see healthcare benefit.
There's high taxes, but you don't know where the taxes are going.
There's high taxes and rich leaders.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where it's going.
That's exactly. So Let's just stop it there, because
yeah.
we're not going to be let back into our countries.
Yeah, we're gonna
if
say
keep
we would
going.
like to really actually maintain citizenship. I'm just saying it's really a new dimension being in a country that actually applies taxpayer funds towards the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Amazing to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway. So yeah, so that's what my week was like. A little bit of anxiety, but yeah, I mean, I didn't have too much time because, as I said, training, after taking a bit of a hiatus as well. So it was good to get back to that. And obviously getting back to classes, not good, but good for occupying the mind.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
So, yeah, nothing much.
Well, anytime you need a chat.
Yeah, I will seek you out. And likewise, even though I may be a control freak, but you are completely a control freak when it comes to not sharing.
You think that's control?
It is. You're controlling what information you're sharing. It's a different kind of control.
I think, yeah, it's a different kind of control. I think it's also
control about how vulnerable you are, how open you are, how willing to share. It's a different kind. It's just not the crazy kind like mine.
It's so funny because I always say, like, within my family, like, we're very communicative. Like, we're very loud. Like, when we're mad, like, we'll fight it out. And my father, who I adore like crazy, is someone who would give us the silent treatment whenever
which is infuriating.
When we got in trouble.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like a day or two silent treatment. I'm talking a month.
No.
Yes. There was
like you're at the breakfast table and
there was one time when I was at UConn where
why do you have to laugh about?
A month where I went home. If you remember, I used to go home on the weekends.
My
house, like my dad's house, was in Stamford.
I remember I came with you a couple times.
4 hours from university, and I would drive home.
I came with you that time we wanted to get piercings done.
But that was when we were in New Jersey, I think.
No, you were in Stamford. We're in Stamford, and we I don't know if I can tell this story.
What piercing did we get?
We wanted to get our tongues pierced, and then we went to the place, and there was a girl who was getting her tongue pierced, and we literally saw like a column of flesh come out of her tongue, and we were both like, nope.
She remembers stuff that
and then you were like, no, we're here now. We gotta do something. And I was like, I ain't doing it. And then we asked the guy, what's the least traumatizing piercing aside from ears? And he was like, belly button. And then we got our belly buttons pierced at the same time. Yeah.
Did I tell you how my mom discovered my belly button?
No, because we both had to hide it. I remember.
I got,
and it takes like 2 years to heal.
I was obsessed with piercings. Like I don't know why, but I even wanted like a Marilyn Monroe at one point. Remember the one that's
little,
like
yeah.
And I also wanted the eyebrows. I don't know what I was going through.
I thought that the braid was cute too, the little
that
one.
That one was cute, or even the lip. This one up here,
cute.
I never went through with them, but so I did have. I got my piercings when I was 4 weeks old. Was it like a common thing in
Kenya as well? I think I got my first hole done, when I was.
And they even pierced it with the actual earring. The earring was like
in the gun, right?
No, like it's just like it's the earring itself was so pointy. My mom had them, but all of her jewelry got stolen when we first moved to Jordan. But it was like these gold earrings, and literally it was as a needle, and they just right in the ear. So that was at 4 weeks old. Okay, so I liked my piercings. I wanted more.
Started early.
Sometime in elementary school, we went to Tennessee, and I visited we were visiting my aunt, my dad's sister.
Yeah.
And she was the older sister, so she kind of like controlled the show, like whenever anyone was around. And she was like, let's go get your ears pierced. Which is very weird because my dad's side of the family is very conservative. But
right.
I don't know. She was
unexpected. She was
So we went
the rebel.
With my mom. I got my second piercing. My dad lost his shit.
How old were you?
This was a tangent. We're supposed to be talking about my dad's silent treatment, but I'll come back to that. I was, I don't know, like 5th grade. This was before we moved to Jordan. Okay. So it must have been like 4th or 5th grade.
Okay.
So we took those out. But still, like ever since that moment where my piercings were like in the middle of the night, my mom came and took them out because my dad was giving her the silent treatment.
He was not
having it. He's like, this is your fault that my sister put these holes in my daughter.
Holes
so in the middle of the night, she came in. She was like,
"Oh no!"
and took him out. So ever since that, I was like, I'm gonna get my second piercing.
Oh, so that was like your
So in university, I went at some point in university. I did my second holes, and then I was like, oh, I'm not done. I went back and I did my
up on the Brook. Oh no, Brook is this. What is this?
No, this one's the tragus. I thought no.
Tragus.
I don't know.
Or Brook.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Oh, you have that one too.
I got this one.
I heard that one's really painful,
ago.
Right? Because the cartilage is very thick.
It took a year for me to stop feeling it.
Oh my god. Nope.
I've had it for a year and a half now, and I just finally now started taking the earring out. Like I don't even have the end of it on.
Oh, right.
I just have the stud in so that I can take it out every night.
Right.
Just to be like, I don't know. I like taking all my jewelry out.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, I digress. So I went back and I got this one.
Yep.
And then I got my nose pierced. Now my nose piercing I can't hide from my mom.
You did get your nose pierced.
That
was in college. Yeah, I remember it healing.
Yeah. But my mom, I don't know why it didn't bother her that much. But
it's also culturally very acceptable, right?
Maybe. Yeah. Like I mean, I think you'd see
a lot of my Arab friends have a nose piercing.
We get our bellies pierced. And I'm thinking walking around like, like just pushing our shirts down. Although I was never one that wore like crop tops or anything like that.
I don't think I was doing that in college either.
No.
Yeah. Mine got seen when I was reaching up to get something.
Yeah.
And my mother was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
No, my mom came up to me randomly. I was visiting for the weekend. I went home to visit for the weekend. And she just stuck her hand up my shirt. She's like, I knew it.
Your sister told. For sure.
No? She would have never told. Because she would have wanted a piercing too.
And like
that would have just ruined it. And she did get a piercing.
Oh, did she?
But Nijma was the type that would walk around with crop.
With
how did you get away with it for so long?
Because you blazed the trail.
Yeah. And so
you crawled so she could walk.
Yeah. So she just went like this and just I knew it.
How does she know?
She just knew. She had a feeling.
It's the intuition. I'm telling you, it's a thing.
But yeah, so
she probably had that feeling for like months and was like, something is going on.
Man, I don't know what I was
thinking.
I
need to check.
After that, she just always was like,
"Oh, what did you say? Were you like?"
I just stood there like this.
Yeah, because you're so
like there's nothing you can say.
What are you gonna say?
The evidence is there.
Did she tell your dad?
Yeah, and at that point, my dad was like,
he'd been through the shock therapy already.
Not like he wasn't like when we were younger. At that point, he was like,
"You're gonna do
your body. You want to be stupid. Be stupid."
It's like
he's got to throw in it's your choice. But at the same time, you made a stupid choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to put a little bit of make it salty a little bit. Oh
but
God.
Then, to go back to my dad and the silent treatment. So I was visiting on the weekend. Mm-hmm. We went to get me a T-Mobile account. Remember T-Mobile?
Oh my God, that was
and I had my little flip razor, pink, flaming.
You had the pink one?
Yeah, razor phone. Was so excited for it.
Oh man.
And so so what you got to know is that when I was younger, my dad would always force me to go up. Like if we were in the mall, and let's say he'd want a coffee, he would force me to go and order a coffee or go get food, and he'd force me to do it by myself without anybody around me. And the reason he'd do that, my stomach's growling. I don't know if the mic's gonna.
I thought that was me.
No.
Okay.
And the reason he'd do that is because I was like ridiculously shy.
Oh, so to
afraid of my own shadow, shy. And so he was trying to get me out of that. And so he would throw me into these scenarios where for me it was like debilitating. Like I literally would go up to the cash register and just look at them and be like, can I have like I couldn't do that. So
I applaud him doing that though. Yeah.
I don't know, like he was the type that would throw us into the deep end, and I always say like it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It doesn't work.
But was he close by when he'd send you? Like you knew that he was
like he'd be sitting at the table and be like, go get me coffee. Not in like because I'm your father and it was like you need to get over this shit. Like, you're not little. And because he was trying to set an example for my younger, like he didn't want my siblings to be
the oldest, get it hard.
So now I'm older. And I wanted to show my dad, like, I got this. So we're in the mall at the T-Mobile at the T-Mobile like shop
kiosk thing.
And my dad's talking to the sales clerk about, yes, my daughter needs this, and that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show my dad that I got this. I'm like, yeah. And I need this. And I was hoping that I could get this and da-da-da. And I literally basically like sidelined my dad. And I was like, you know, just, I wanted to show him that I've got this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I wanted him to be proud and be like, oh, my daughter is not like this timid,
Look at her. Not even, she is just assertive.
Yeah.
She's all of the things.
We left that mall and he did not speak 2 words to me.
What?
I when I was leaving the next day, he'd left the house already. And so I left without seeing him.
And you were like,
and
what
the entire time I'm like, what's happening? I don't understand. It didn't click in my head what was happening. And then I went back to Yukon and I would call him every few days. He wouldn't answer.
No, he wasn't even playing on the phone.
And there was a month, for some reason, I couldn't make it back home. I don't know why. I don't know what would have been happening on the weekends for me to not make it back home. Mm-hmm. So I literally didn't see.
You said Yukon. I was like, we know what was happening on the weekend.
So Rhode Island, Providence, I don't know, Boston, I don't know. Something was happening. And so I finally get a hold of him after a month. And I'm like, Dad, what's up? He was like, I didn't like how you spoke to me in front of the sales clerk.
Sitting on that for 4 weeks.
And I said, Dad, just tell me next time. He's like, no, I need to cool down. I needed to cool down.
So he didn't he felt like you had an attitude to the sales clerk?
Yeah, he thought I was disrespectful. The way that I spoke to him in front of the salesperson.
Oh, like how you addressed your dad in the presence of
however, although I didn't say anything to my dad, but I think it was the way that I sidelined him, and he didn't like that.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh man.
4 weeks is crazy work.
So to go back to that, so I feel like because of all the silent treatment that we used to get, that's why I feel like my family and I are really good at being super loud and communicative. Like when we're mad at each other, we'll say it. So this is where I don't understand why I struggle with people outside of I would say with my siblings, I don't always go to them when I have something going on.
I think that is just a personality thing.
Yeah.
I just think you are you're more of a listener than a talker.
Yeah.
And even when you talk, it takes a while for you. Like your shell is a little bit, I don't know if you want to call it a shell because it makes it sound like you're inside of a cocoon. Yeah. But I think it takes a little bit more for you to feel super comfortable opening up. And I think that's just personality.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I need to feel safe.
Because when you open, you open up,
yeah,
and then you're good. But yeah, it takes a while for you to get there.
And you see, you just need to probe me, once or twice.
Yeah.
Like, how are you? No, really, how are you?
Just disregards the text asking about how she's doing. See, that's your dad showing up right
You're
there.
Not the first person, by the way, that will send me, how are you? And I completely I don't
answers everything else.
I don't know why I don't.
You don't see it.
I don't see it, or I subconsciously just don't want to answer. How are you? How am I? Do you want to know that I've got no money, that I'm stressed out from the kids, that I can't find,
are you asking because you really want to know?
You really want to know? I will tell you,
Or
then,
yeah. You're I just don't want to start. Yeah, I feel that sometimes when you're just listen, I how much time you got?
Yeah.
Because if you really want to know, I'll tell you, but I don't want to start. Sometimes it's like that. And so, yeah, I've also gotten better at sensing when it's all right, she just kind of needs a moment or some time. And all of us do. But sometimes you're just I just need, like we said with the kids, they just need an hour or two by themselves.
To decompress.
I'm good.
Yeah.
And then, sometimes it's a couple days.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I think it kind of leads into what we were going to speak about, which was do we need to feed you? Should we pause?
God.
Because there's a poke bowl waiting for us to eat.
I mean, let's just get through this.
Okay.
I don't think I can.
Yeah, so we were saying, man, silent treatment.
Silent treatment.
Yeah, the stomach's not giving the silent treatment. That's for sure.
No.
I actually feel like it's mine too, though.
No, it's mine.
Okay.
What you just heard and where we literally paused, that was me.
Wow. All right. Okay. I take it as
yeah.
key indicator that we need to eat soon. But
you save me because, like I said, it's just like turned off in there.
No.
I don't know if it's like perimenopause and brain fog. I don't know what it is. It's just
which could be a topic for another episode because it's a real thing.
Yes,
it's a real thing. Oh my gosh! You know, when we were little and like sometimes your parents will go through like all your siblings' names before they get to yours. They'll be like,
I
always used to be. It happens to me all the time now.
Man,
and it used to piss me off so much that like I'd be like, wow, am I not even an individual to you? And then now I'm like doing with my kids.
Exactly. I do the same thing. And
I called Michael Dante the other day. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
I said, I'm never going to be like that. I'm going to know who my kids' names
My kids are all individuals.
Now they're all just Habibi. Like, I don't even bother. It's like, Habibi. Like, they're like,
Baba,
which one? I don't know.
It's just, hey, stop. That applies usually to both the boys. Hey.
Oh, man.
Oh, goodness. God. Oh, wow. No, that was a nice, like, little catch up, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to, sometimes it's just nice to, talk about things and reminisce and
just to chat it up. I feel like that's also what's sometimes missing, and we need that, you know.
Yeah, a lot of times.
I think ladies, like women, need that.
Yeah, which is why, like, you know, men are always like, you ladies are always like, I'm like, yeah, we need it.
We have so much up here. When we remember it, we need
to get it out. Yeah. Unlike men also need to get it out. Because you know what, truth be told, when they get together too, it's
Yeah. They're worse. I think they can be worse than us about gossip.
Oh my gosh, gossip?
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Yeah, I never, ever again want to accidentally open a man's group chat. I did that once for one of my exes, and I was like,
oh, damn.
Yo. And it's sometimes guys, you know, and you're like, I thought he was such a gentleman. Mm-hmm. And the memes they share,
they're the nastiest.
I'm
like closeted nasty.
Because the one that you think is going to be like the bad influence one, and he's out loud about it, that's usually the one who's like, he lets all his crazy out. The quiet one who's like, hi.
Yeah, no, you got to watch out for those.
Shit.
On that note,
we're going to get some food.
We are going to eat because you've probably heard my stomach going off over and over again.
Although kudos to the mics if we picked it up.
we can have it as like a beat in the background, maybe like.
Oh, let's see if we can mix it in.
Oh, man.
Oh, Lord.
We'll be back with another episode next week. So stay tuned. Oh my God.
You need to eat.
Stay tuned for another episode of Flex in the City. And in the meantime,
bye.